Hey you guys, what is up? Welcome to the channel. Kayla Jukic if you are new, and if you're not, welcome to my IVF pregnancy Q&A. I did recently announce that my husband and I's first frozen embryo transfer was actually successful, and after over 2.5 years of trying to conceive and dealing with male factor infertility and IVF, we are finally pregnant. At the time of me filming this video, I'm a little bit farther than what you're seeing in the vlogs, just because the vlogs are taking me a little bit longer to edit. I'm in the thick of the first trimester, but I'm actually feeling good today. I'm just tired, but I've had no nausea or anything like that. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna bang out this video because you guys have a ton of questions. Between the Instagram poll as well as the anonymous poll, I think I got like, I don't even know. I'm gonna say like 300 questions, no joke. Some of them I did answer on my Instagram story, but I started to get very overwhelmed because there was just so many of them. So I figured I would just sit down and we would chit chat about all the things. Now I'm going to be very blunt and upfront. I would say nearly half of the questions I will simply not be answering. I love you guys, but a lot of the questions are things that I've answered honestly a million times already. When I posted this IVF pregnancy Q&A, I had people asking about how the egg retrieval went. Did it hurt? How were the stims? How was the injections? How was the hormones? How did I feel? And I've answered these questions a million times. Like, I literally vlogged every little thing, so please just go back and watch those vlogs. Watch my past Q&As. I literally have a Q&A specifically for egg retrieval and IVF stims. This video is solely gonna be basically about like the IVF embryo transfer, what I did before, and then I got a lot of questions about pregnancy. That's where I'm at right now, so that's what I'm gonna focus on. Now, I did kind of break up the questions I am gonna answer into two categories. So one is gonna be just a little bit about IVF. Again, that's more about the transfer itself. And then the second category will be pregnancy. So first really good question that I do want to answer is, how did you accept that IVF was your path? I'm devastated we can't conceive naturally. For me, at the end of the day, the goal has always been to get a baby, get pregnant, have a live birth. So for us, if IVF is what we needed to do, then it was really easy for me to accept that, because at the end of the day, my goal is my goal. I know I've mentioned this before, but we were never told we can't conceive naturally. It's just that it would probably take us a very long time and it would be really hard, and obviously clearly was, because we tried for pretty much 2.5 years. I actually think I got over the fact that we wouldn't conceive naturally pretty quickly. Of course, at first it was kind of like, what the heck, because you don't really expect that. You never think like, oh, I'm gonna be that person or I'm gonna be in this position. But for me, I was just, again, like always thinking about the goal. So it was like, okay, I need to move forward. So what's the next step? What's the next step after that? What do we need to do? Second question, is this your first IVF? Yes, this was our very first round. I know people had questions about like the funding because I'm in Ontario, Canada. I'm not going to go into too much detail because, again, I did talk about it. My husband and I were put on the funded wait list for IVF here in Ontario, Canada in December 2023. We were told 14 to 18 months. We got it right at 14 months. We started in February 2025. My stims was the last week of February, first week of March. I had my egg retrieval March 7th. I did take 2 months off to rest, and then we did have our first embryo transfer on June 7th. Next question was, what was the grade and day of embryo transfer? So we transferred a 5-day blastocyst. The grade was a 4AA, which is the top grade for my clinic before freezing. So it was the perfect embryo, and like I said, we transferred it on Saturday, June 7th, 2025. Next question, what was your uterine lining? So on the day of my transfer, my uterine lining was 13.8 mm. I know they like to see it anywhere between, I believe, 7 and 14. So my lining was like virtually perfect, which is really nice. On the day of my transfer, my doctor even said to me like, oh my God, you have such a nice home for your embryo. And that just made me feel so much more confident and good. I will say I understand that a lot of people struggle with this. I have always had a regular period. My menstrual cycle has always been normal and regular, and I've never had issues with that, so I'm very lucky in that sense. Next question, was this a fresh or frozen transfer? I already answered. This was a frozen transfer. I did take 2 months off post egg retrieval to just recoup and recover, and honestly at first it was very hard. If you remember that vlog, I was like crying when I found out my doctor said she would like to wait 2 months. I was pretty devastated because you just want to be pregnant, like you want to just get to the goal. But honestly now when I think about it, I'm very glad that I actually listened to my doctor and I waited mentally, physically, emotionally, like just everything. I needed that time. A lot of questions around like diet and food. So what was your diet like before transferred? Best foods to help embryo stick. I'm gonna just disclaim, there's nothing that is like 100% guaranteed. There's obviously like little myths here and there, but other than like eating, you know, your fruits and veggies, eating a healthy balanced diet, having high protein. I know a lot of people talk about like the Mediterranean diet. When I was prepping for my transfer, I was thinking back into like what I was eating and doing before my egg retrieval, and I was stressing myself out. I was like, I have to eat avocados, I have to eat eggs, I have to eat this, I have to eat that, and it was just a lot. And going into my transfer, I was like, I don't want to feel stressed. So my diet was pretty normal. I overall eat very healthy. I'm a creature of habit, so I eat a lot of the same meals. Like every morning I have turkey bacon, scrambled eggs, and a kiwi. I have a lot of avocado toast. I eat a lot of overnight oats or oatmeal. So like my meals are pretty like similar. Things that I think are important to share was I ate and drank a lot of like room temperature or warm foods. So I had a lot of soups. Pretty much like every day I had soup at dinner. I had warm beef bone broth in the morning. There's tons and tons of benefits and qualities that are great from beef bone broth. And then at night I would have chamomile tea just to help me relax and sleep well. I definitely didn't stop eating sugar or like sweets because I'm a very like sweet gal. I love my sweets, but I definitely did cut down where I could. Now in terms of like the best foods, again, you can eat everything and do everything and your embryo transfer still might not work. So again, take this with a grain of salt. Do not stress yourself out. Specifically, I drank pomegranate juice the week leading up to my transfer, and then I would say like 4 or 5 days after, I would just have like a glass, maybe like this much full. I did do the pineapple. I know that's like an IVF superstition thing. I ate everything, like the whole pineapple, but again, a week before and up to 5 days after. But I will say after my transfer, I focused a little bit more on the core because that's what people say. It has bromelain or bromelain or however you say it. It's like really helpful for implantation apparently. Next question, did you do any of the old wives' tales for your frozen embryo transfer? So I kind of talked about that. The pomegranate juice, the pineapple. We did have McDonald's French fries after, which is like a superstition for good luck. Even some of our friends and family had it on the same day, which was really nice. I think that's really all I did. Honestly, I didn't think about it too much. Next question, any advice, tips for transfer day? I will definitely say I personally think acupuncture is very beneficial and helpful. I went to acupuncture the day before, and then I also did it the day of, about 2 hours post transfer. I find it very relaxing. I fell asleep. I was able to just chill and clear my mind and just like breathe and think. I will say go in with a positive mindset, just maybe, you know, like positive affirmations. Leading up to transfer and the day of and even after my transfer, I told myself I am pregnant. I am gonna have a baby. My body is gonna do exactly what it needs to do. Just all of the positive affirmations and things I told myself. I will also say try and laugh, like try and have fun, have supportive people around you. Obviously my husband came with me. Just do things that make you smile. Like if you guys have followed our journey, my husband and I, we resorted to having donuts after our infertility appointments. So we got McDonald's fries after our transfer, and then we also got donuts. Just that's our thing. So just do things you love, things that make sense for you and your partner. Somebody asked, did you rest, bed rest post embryo transfer? So I was actually not given any instructions really by my doctor. I personally chose to just rest, not necessarily bed rest. So the day of and the day after, I think I maybe only went for like 2 short walks. Other than that, I pretty much like laid on the couch and I watched, I'm pretty sure 3 movies on both days. So I was kind of a couch potato, but that was also because I was really tired after my transfer. I don't know why, I was just exhausted. After a couple of days, I started kind of getting back into routine. I was still resting, but I would go for a little bit more walks with my dog, Kobe. I think I went kind of back to like 3 or 4 walks a day. day. But definitely I did not work out. I still have not worked out. I'm hoping to in the next few weeks when I start feeling a little bit better. But again, my doctor didn't give me really any instructions. So I just kind of like listened to my body and trusted that. Last but not least, somebody said, what was the hardest part of IVF? What was the easiest? Would you change anything if you could? The hardest part, I think, is definitely the waiting. I know I talked about this on Instagram. Waiting for calls from the fertility clinic, waiting for funding, waiting for your egg retrieval, waiting to hear back on how many blastocysts you're getting, waiting for your transfer, waiting to recover, like just so much waiting around. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to wait around. The waiting is definitely agony. The easiest part, I don't know. I thought about this question and I think my answer would be different from a lot of people, but I think the easiest part for me was actually sharing this journey. It was definitely hard at first, but once I started sharing, it just became so easy and like I wanted to actually do it. You guys have been honestly so amazing. The community I've built, the support I've built with the infertility, IVF girlies, and now hopefully the pregnancy, you know, IVF fam. It's just been amazing. Like connecting with so many people has been so healing for me. It became so easy for me to share something that's so hard. And then would you change anything? Honestly, now that I'm pregnant, no, because this was the goal. I don't want to get emotional, but I would do everything all over again. Oh my God. We've never seen two pink lines, so it's been very surreal. Sorry, oh my God. It was definitely hard, but it was like worth everything. Worth every injection, worth all of the phone calls, all of the blood work, all of the medication, all of the money, everything. Everything, it is so worth it. And I know I'm gonna feel even more grateful and appreciative of this once we actually have baby in our arms. We're gonna move into the second category, which is the pregnancy category. I had a lot of questions about people asking if we are going to be finding out the gender and just like about the gender in general. So with IVF in Canada, it is actually illegal for clinics to tell parents what the gender of the baby is before transfer. We also did not do PGT testing, so our clinic does not even know what the gender is, but even if we did that and they did know the gender, they wouldn't have been able to tell us. However, we will be finding out the gender. I'm not sure if we're gonna wait till the anatomy scan, which is usually around like 18 to 20 weeks pregnant. I just feel like I want to know right now. I will update you guys on that. I'm not 100% sure, but we will be finding out. Second question was, what were your betas? So my first one at 11 days past 5-day transfer was 336. My second one was at 13 days past 5-day transfer and it was at 656. And then my third one was 15 days past 5-day transfer and I was at 1,533. Somebody asked, what were your symptoms? Did you have implantation bleeding? I have a whole video about my symptoms. I will link it up here. It's funny because when I look back at my symptoms that I recorded, I am pretty sure, like 100% positive, that this baby implanted 3 days past transfer, because that was the day that I had the most cramping, like literally dead center pretty much the entire day. So it was actually really cool to track my symptoms because now I look back and I'm like, oh, that makes sense. I actually did not have implantation bleeding and I've not had any bleeding whatsoever. I was kind of freaking out a little bit because I didn't know this. I thought implantation bleeding was a lot more popular, or like it happened to more people than it actually does. Apparently implantation bleeding only happens to 10 to 15% of women. When I didn't experience it, I was like, oh, it didn't work for me, but it very clearly did work for me. I got some questions about baby names. So have you thought of names you like? Are you both Balkan? Is the name going to favor the home region? So Balkan is basically, that's where my husband's from. He is Bosnian Slovenian. It's just like that area of Europe. Yes, we have thought of names. We've had a running list for quite some time. We do have a top boy name and a top girl name that we have loved for years and it's never changed. So I think that will probably be the names that we use. But I did also mention this on Instagram that at this point in time, we're very much thinking we want baby in our arms to kind of see if that name actually feels right. Maybe that's going to change. We still have so long to go. So if it does, I'll let you guys know. For now, we're going to have some backup names just in case, but our top boy and our top girl name are pretty high contenders. I am not from the same area of Europe that my husband is. My mom is German, my dad is Italian. Our name is not going to favor any home region in particular. What app are you using? So I decided to download the What to Expect app, and it has been freaking amazing. It is so educational, and I love that it's very visual because I'm a visual person. It has lots of photos, it has lots of videos. I love it. One of my friends recommended it to me. She used it when she was pregnant, and then also when I asked ChatGPT what the best pregnancy app was, What to Expect was the top rated like overall. Somebody asked, are you on any meds now since you did a modified natural frozen embryo transfer? Yes, I am still on progesterone. I need to stay on it until 10 weeks pregnant. So I do still have a couple more weeks. I am using the Krynon progesterone. This is what the packaging looks like. It comes with 18 applicators. So luckily I am using a gel applicator and not the Pio shots. So it just comes like this. You rip it open and it's like a little applicator, and you just up there. I'm doing it twice a day, once in the morning, once at night. I've been buying 2 boxes of these at a time. So it's 18 applicators, which means it lasts me 9 days. So for 2 of these boxes, which equals 18 days, it's costing me 600 Canadian. How did you tell your family about the big fat positive? I did mention this in our video of us finding out. We live with my mother-in-law, and my sister-in-law and brother-in-law were also home at the time, and me and Alan just woke them up right away and just told them like we couldn't wait. So we literally went into the room, woke them up, and we were just like holding the test, and they were like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. So yeah, that was that. Somebody said, any suggestions for the 2-week wait? This is a really good question. Honestly, the 2-week wait was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. My biggest suggestion is to keep yourself busy. Make lots of plans. Lots and lots and lots of plans. I had like 2 or 3 dinners with girlfriends. I went to the movies. I read more. I went outside. I did more walks. You just do all the things. Of course, if you're feeling tired, rest, but just keep yourself busy. It obviously worked out for me because, as you guys saw, I did not test until 10 days past my transfer. I honestly didn't even like think about it because I was like keeping myself busy. I also had work to keep me busy. So yeah, it just like the 10 days flew by for me. Somebody asked, do you feel overly scared of miscarriage? And honestly, I don't. I feel like I'm very lucky to feel that way. And that's specifically because I've never experienced a miscarriage. If you have, I can totally understand why you would feel scared, and I'm so sorry that you have experienced that. And my answer is obviously not to take away from you, but it's just the reality of the fact that I've never experienced one. So in the back of my mind, I'm really not thinking about it, and I know that's easier said than done. Again, especially if you have experienced one. For me, we have just been like trying to get to this point for so long that I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just trying to stay positive. We're trying to celebrate all of the wins. Like, we're celebrating every second of this baby. That's why we announced at 6 weeks. I definitely understand and acknowledge that it's a real possibility and it can happen, but in my mind, I am just trying not to think about it. If it happens, I will deal with it and think about it then. Somebody asked, how are you dealing with anxiety and worry? And I feel like this kind of goes hand in hand. I'm really just like trying not to think about anything negative. Again, maybe that's just me being a little bit like oblivious, but I'm just trying to, I don't know, like I'm just trying my best to stay positive. I'm looking at all the baby things, I'm buying the clothes, I'm looking at the gear and the strollers and stuff, and I'm just trying to keep my mind off of anything negative. And I'm just like overall the type of person that just tries to deal with things when they happen. I don't want to like stress myself out ahead of time because I feel like I have so much other stress. Like I have so much work stress right now in the first trimester, and you guys know I'm a business owner and I'm in my busy season right now. So I think that's been actually helping me because I'm just like really focused on work. Somebody asked, will you be living with in-laws when you have the baby? So like I mentioned, I do live with my mother-in-law and we are welcome here. So we are going to have all the help, save all the money that we can. So yes, that is the plan for now. I'm not sure how long that will go on for or how long we will be here, but for now, that is the plan. I'm just like looking at the questions that I have, and there's just like so many, but I think those are the main ones that I felt like I wanted to answer. If you guys have more questions, leave them down below or shoot me a DM on Instagram. I'm always willing to answer, even if it is questions I've already answered in the past. I always answer if you guys DM me. It's just for the purpose of this video, I just didn't feel like it was necessary. So again, if you did ask questions and I didn't answer it, go check out my infertility journey playlist because you will find the answer in there. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope this was detailed and gave you all the information you were looking for. Make sure to subscribe to me down below so you don't miss any of my future pregnancy videos, vlogs, all the good stuff. Give this video a big thumbs up. I love you guys and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.